Exhale. And yeah, as you find your seat, we're going to begin with our breath. And you might start to let your eyes close and really slow your breath down as you breathe through your nose. Perhaps use this opportunity to really pay attention to the sensation of your breath. Notice how it feels as you breathe in through the nose. Notice any sensations on the exhales. Do just a few more full breaths, nice and slow. Noticing where you can relax, maybe the muscles along the sides of your neck. Taking one more deep breath in and slowly exhaling. As you complete that breath, let's draw the chin down to your chest. And take a moment to do some half neck circles. Moving into some movement from side to side. Perhaps opening up to a full circle. Doing your best not to crunch the back of the neck here, but lifting up through the chin. So the neck stays long, even as you tilt the head back. And even yourself out by rewinding opposite direction. Another breath or two. And then we'll take a few breaths with the ear to your left shoulder and the right hand by your hip. But most of you know the drill now. You can get curious with some movements, with some rotation of the wrists. Take your fingers wide or tuck them into a fist as you draw those circles. We're going to expand that rotation further up your arm. Spread the fingers wide as you do that. And add some movement of your head. Couple more full breaths. If you like, palm can stay forward, fingers can flex back, and you can lift through the chin as you breathe in, encouraging space on the top side of the neck. If you do want to take your gaze down toward the left hip, tuck the chin toward that shoulder. And as you exhale, release and reset at center. And we'll switch sides. Other hand can float by your hip, and you can play with some small movements to start. Continuing with those steady breaths. And noticing if you can slow your breath down, both on the way in and the way out. You're going to take your rotation higher up the arm. Linger, whatever your end range looks like. You're going to add your head as well. Another option here is palm stays forward, fingers flex back, chin lifts with your breath in, or rotates down to the ground with your exhale. One last breath. And on the exhale, release chin to the chest. And as you breathe in, we're going to lift the gaze all the way up. And take your time, lower on the breath out. One more inhale, lift and look up. And exhale, chin to your chest. Just keep the gaze forward and then sweep the arms all the way up by the ears on the next breath in. Take a moment to actively lengthen all the way through the fingertips as you ground down through the sitting bone. And then we'll take a twist. And you got some variations here. Arms might stay wide in line with the shoulders. You can also connect that front forearm with the same side leg. And then rotate the gaze to look toward the back thumb. Do your best to keep your shoulders stacked over the hips and chest. Proud, spine tall. As you breathe in, reach up, face forward. And go ahead and rotate the opposite directions, palms facing away from the body. Option to take whatever variation calls you. Encouraging length between the vertebrae on the breath in. And twisting a little further in the breath. Inhale, reach up, face forward. Let's tilt over to one side and pause there. So you can plant that bottom hand, but relax through the bottom shoulder. Notice how much space you can encourage between your ribs as you breathe in. And if you can soften the muscles along the sides of your neck as you exhale. Couple more full breaths. If you rotate the gaze down to the ground, or even relax the head completely and let it hang. And as you breathe in, we're going to float all the way over to the other side and pause there. Keeping the weight evenly distributed as best you can through both sitting bones. So you actively reach through the top fingers. Notice where you can relax, especially the muscles of the face and neck. And a couple more full breaths. Maybe the head relaxes, the gaze rotates. And on the breath in, we're going to float from side to side. So inhale all the way up. Exhale as you arch. And do that a few times. Let your breath guide you. Arms can continue up and overhead. If you want to switch it up and take the arms out in front horizontally, that a couple rounds. A few more breaths. One more around each side. This time you have the option of fold forward and just fold there. So you might just have the fingertips on the earth. Some of you might bring forearms down to the ground. If you want to use a block to support your forehead for a moment, that's also an option. You can find a height that feels good to you. And we're breathing space into the back of the lungs, letting the head and neck relax. A couple more deep breaths into your belly. And as you breathe in, slowly rise back up to your seat. We'll come onto our hands and knees. As you arrive in all fours, take a moment to really spread the fingers and adjust the knees under the hips. We're going to just trace some circles to start with your hips. Feel free to move in whatever ways you'd like. There's no right or wrong here. Simply taking time to move in ways that feel good to you. And take half circles, toes tucked. Shifts in the hips from side to side, as well as forward and back a few times. Couple breaths, doing that works for you. Spend a few breaths getting into our wrists. So here you can turn your thumbs to the top of your mat, rotate the fingers to either side, press down to the base of the wrists, knuckles, and fingertips as you rock from left to right. And the head can be relaxed. You might choose to rotate your shoulder heads around the base of the wrists in little circles here, while pressing into the entire base of your hands. We are circling, rotate both ways. Feel free to keep moving in circles or side to side, or pause and then flip one palm to the sky. Press the back of the wrist down. You can play with spreading your fingers or tucking them toward your palm. You shake that off and switch sides. Your palm up, fingers might open, close. Gently release. We're going to come up to our knees. And you could stay high on the knees this time, as long as that works for you. Take the arms nice and wide. Feel that space across the chest. And as you exhale, you're going to cross one arm on top of the other and grab opposite shoulders. Notice if you can squeeze the elbows and stack them. And as you breathe in, we're going to look up, squeeze and lift the arms. And on the exhale, tuck the elbows in toward the lower ribs and broaden the upper back. Do that again. Deep breath in, lift and look up. And as you exhale, round. One more this side. Deep breath in. Long breath out. This time, inhale. Take the arms wide. Remember which arm you had on top. And switch it. So cross the opposite way. Coming on the opposite shoulders. Squeezing the elbow joints together. And then inhale to lift. And exhale, round the upper back. Twice more with your breath. Strong, take your time. This time as you inhale, take the arms wide. And if you have the ability here to cross the hands behind the back, that's an option. If you have something to extend your reach, feel free to use it. A t-shirt, a towel can work here. Otherwise, knuckles drive down. You can also grab opposite forearms. Otherwise, knuckles drive down, chest floats up. Shoulder blades squeeze in and down the back. And to find that space in the upper chest. And maybe a slight tuck in the tailbone. Feel free to keep looking forward, lifting the heart. Maybe the chin floats slightly, but try not to crease the back of the neck. One or two more breaths. And if you do want to hinge at the hips for another round of breath, you can start to fold forward as you float the arms up. If your head does come down to the ground, only 10% of your body weight max is on the head. Keep it light. Couple more breaths. And then slowly release, rewinding the way you came in. And if it's comfortable to do so, you might take a moment to sit back on your heels, turn the palms to the sky, or perhaps just close your eyes for just a couple breaths. Notice any sensations that might be arising. It's okay to feel a little lightheaded here. And we'll shift into child's pose. So option one, knees together, arms back by your hips with the palms up. Front of the shoulders are rounding down to the ground. Arms are heavy. Head and neck is relaxed. Breath is deep. For those of you that prefer extended child's pose, you're going to widen the knees when you're ready and take the arms out to the top of the mat. Full breaths in and out the nose. And add a little rocking side to side. Maybe that's in the forehead, or shifting in the hips. You can pause it centered with a breath in. Walk your fingertips as far away from you as you can. Elbows can come off the ground. As you exhale, pretend like you're digging your claws into the earth. Keep the arms straight, but feel as though you're pulling the arms in toward your body. Again, inhale, walk the fingers away, create that length. And exhale, press down into the ground. Last one, deep breath in, elongate. Exhale, press. We're going to walk the hands over to one side. You can keep the hands wide and like your shoulders, or take the outside hand and stack it on top of the hand closest to the center of the mat. Get heavy in the hips here as you actively reach the fingertips in the opposite direction. And with an inhale, walk your hands over to the opposite side. Same choice here. Hands wide like your shoulders, or outside hand stacks on top. Hips shift toward the back corner of the mat, fingertips in the opposite way. And inhale back to center. Perhaps the palms rotate to the sky for just a couple of breaths. Forearms might press more firmly into the earth as you open the thumbs to the outer edges of the mat. I'm going to ground the palms and shift back through to all fours, and your knees under your hips. And we'll start with the left leg straight behind you, toes on the ground. For that stretch at the back of the leg. We'll be working the weight forward toward the toes a few times. The option to float that leg to hip level. Add some movement at the ankle for a moment. And then keep the muscles of the leg working by pointing or flexing your foot. And that strength in the upper body by pressing down into the ground. And then you might just walk the opposite fingers slightly out in front of you. They might stay on the earth for more support, or float up toward the sky. Creating a nice long line from fingers, shoulders, hips, and toes. Up into that strength and length in the body. One more full breath. And slowly lower back to center. We'll take a few rounds of cat and cow, doing your best to initiate the movement from your tailbone and let it ripple through the spine one vertebrae at a time. Encourage to move slowly here as you breathe in, tailbone tilts up, belly drops, chest lifts, perhaps the gaze. Now the exhale, tailbone curls under, belly pulls in, press whatever's touching the mat down into the ground as you tuck your chin. Do that one more deep breath in, and complete breath. In a neutral position, let's set the right leg straight back, toes grounded, stretching out the back of your leg, perhaps warming up the muscles in the feet, and you can look forward to that. And then optional, lift that leg to hip height, rotate from the ankle, and flex your foot. Keep that leg active. Firm up your foundation. Maybe walk the opposite fingers away from the body and stay light on the fingertips. Or float the arm up toward the sky, challenging your balance. Notice your breathing and slow it down. You're going to point to focus your awareness down on the earth in front of you. And just a couple more breaths. Gently release hands to the earth and then comes back down. Couple more rounds of cat and cow. And if you want to switch it up, you can add sideways cat cow, looking over one shoulder, engaging those abdominal side obliques. Rotating the other way. Perhaps back and forth a couple times. For this next one, we're going to play with a little arm balance, and you can have as much support as you'd like. If you do have a block, you might bring it just about underneath your face to prep here. So we're going to start with right leg straight back behind you. You're going to pivot on the knee that you're kneeling on so that foot comes behind you to the long edge of the mat. And then if you are using a block, you're going to plant your left hand on the block slightly in front of the left shoulder. You can do this on the ground. Your top arm is going to sweep up by your ear and then start to open the chest. And here you can hold and breathe, pressing down through the pinky toe and reaching through the top pinky finger. You might add some top arm circles. So reach the thumb up and back, opening the chest. And then thumb's going to draw or lead the way, coming all the way across the body. You best to keep your hips lifted, squeezing the glutes as you press the front of the hips forward. And if you need to come down at any time, feel free to do so. Otherwise, just a couple more breaths with or without the arm circles. Last one. And then slowly, with control, come back to all fours. Take a second here to just reset, shake it off. We're going to do the other side. So starting with the opposite leg straight behind you. You're going to spin on the knee that you're kneeling on so that foot becomes your kickstand behind you. You can adjust the block so it's slightly in front of your bottom shoulder. And then the opposite heel comes down to the ground. Top arm can reach up and overhead and maybe hold here, feeling that nice long line from the pinky toe edge through the top pinky finger. And if you do want to add those circles, you can reach up and back. And as you exhale, take the arm across the body, moving slow and controlled here. Stay nice and strong in that bottom shoulder blade, feeling the muscles at the back side working. Couple more breaths. Nice control. Stop. And as you exhale, slowly make your way back to all fours. Feel free to keep a block near the tops of your mats. We're going to tuck the toes from a quadruped position and then float the knees off the earth just an inch or two. Stay nice and strong in the upper body, like a push-up. Pull the belly in towards you and pretend you're crushing a block between your inner thighs and another one between the upper arms. Keep breathing. Stay with it. Just 3, 2, and back to down dog on 1. You can always tap the knees first and then add any movement that feels good in your down dog. You can exaggerate bending one knee a lot as you straighten the other leg. You might lift both heels off the ground and then bend both knees as if you're squatting at the back of the mat a few times. And you can play with that and launch forward to a plank, creating a ripple effect with your spine. Bending the knees, shifting the hips back, and then leading with the tailbone, creating that wave in the spine as you shift forward. These are challenges, so feel free to try it on. If you need a break, listen to the body. 1 or 2 more breaths, doing what feels good. Or maybe just a breath in stillness in your dog, so hips shifting up and back. Totally cool to have that bend in the knees, just making its way back toward the upper thighs. And as you breathe in, gaze forward. Sit so your feet toward your hands and arrive in your forward fold. Deep bend in the knees, belly can rest on the legs. Arms can cross here. Upper body hangs heavy. Some of you might enjoy a gentle sway in the torso or nodding of the head. And then we're going to release the arms and take your time, uncurling your vertebrae until you rise all the way to standing. And at the top, make some of your shoulder circles. Spiraling the opposite way. And deep breath in as you reach the arms all the way up. And exhale as you come back to the heart. Continue with a forward fold. Deep breath in. Exhale, hinge at the hips with a soft bend in the knees. Inhale to your half lift and hold here. Nice flat back. Hands are either on the shins or all the way into the creases of your hips. Elbows are squeezing in toward the back. Back body is working. Another inhale. On the exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Press through your feet. Reach through your fingers. Exhale, hands to the heart. Again, deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway, just on one breath. And exhale, fold once again. Inhale back to standing. Reach up, gaze up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Taking it to a kneeling lunge this time. Deep inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. And on the exhale, hands come down. Let's set the right foot back and that knee to the earth. Hands can begin on the front thigh. Make sure that front knee is about over your ankle. Once you're in this position, arms are going to reach up by the ears. Take a deep breath in. Notice if you can rotate your palms to the back wall and spin the pinkies in toward one another. So I want you to feel like you're lifting from the very base of your shoulder blade all the way up to the sky. And on the exhale, palms forward, elbows wide, squeeze the shoulder blades in and down the back. Again, inhale, reach up, palms face the back wall. And then exhale, turn the palms forward, take the elbows wide. One more, just like that. Inhale, reach it high. Exhale and expand. This time, inhale, arms up. And on the exhale, bring the right hand down across from the front foot. If you've got blocks, another great place to bring them into play underneath that bottom shoulder. You can turn toward your front thigh in a kneeling lunge. You can also extend the back leg, tucking the back toes and driving the back knee as straight as you can. Feel free to gaze wherever works best for your neck. Be nice and strong in that bottom shoulder blade. Really press down into the ground. One or two more breaths. With an exhale, gently release. You might come through hands and knees or direct the downward facing dog. As you arrive in down dog, take a breath. Inhale, gaze forward. Step the right foot forward, back knee down. Kneeling lunge, opposite side. Hands can begin on the front thigh as you find your foundation. And then you can always widen your feet if you feel a little wobbly here. With your inhale, we're sweeping both arms up by the ears, palms face the back wall. Take a moment to really find that length. So again, from the base of the shoulders, reach up as much as you can. And on the exhale, turn the palms forward, widen the elbows, activate those muscles at your upper back. Two more. Inhale, reach it high, palms to the back wall. And then exhale, palms forward. Last one, deep breath, reach up. Exhale, nice and wide. This time, inhale, arms high. And then bring the left hand down across from the front foot. Option to use your block. If it feels helpful to widen the front foot a little bit, feel free. If you want to extend the back knee, also an option. Find that strength, really press whatever's touching the earth down. Maybe take the gaze toward the top hand. Lift from the center of your chest. With your exhale, release and reset in down dog. Couple breaths there. Inhale with the right leg up and back. Option is stack your hips, so turn the front of the hip points toward the side wall. You can bend the knee here if you choose and squeeze your heel into your bum. Next breath in, look forward, step the foot between your hands, spin the back heel down and rise to warrior two. Turn to face you. So right knee is bending toward a 90-degree bend, arms floating over your ankles. Take just a couple lunges with that front knee. So straighten the front leg, reach it high, and then exhale, warrior two. Again, deep breath in, reach up. Exhale, expand. Last one, inhale, arms high. As you exhale, keep the warrior two legs and then wrap your arms over one another, grabbing opposite shoulders. Like we did in the beginning, squeeze your elbows together and then inhale, reach up, look up, rather. And on the exhale, round just the upper back. So I'm not hinging at the hip, just spreading the shoulder width. Once again, inhale, squeeze and lift the arms. And as you exhale, tuck the elbows in toward the ribs, broaden the upper back. Last one, stay strong in the legs. This time, inhale, open the arms wide over the ankles, and then reverse your warrior. Right arm high, breathing space into that right side body. Do your best to recommit to that lunge in the front leg. I know it's burning. And then come into extended side angle. Forearm to the front thigh if you like. Top arm by your ear. And if it's helpful, you can take those circles with the top arm, encouraging your chest to open as you reach up and back. Moving slow. Last one. Deep breath. And on the inhale, rise back upright. You're going to turn your toes to the long edge of the mat. Maybe spin the heels in. So we're going to keep the legs nice and wide. Deep breath in. Reach the arms up. And on the exhale, lower into your squat. Nice. Repeat that. Press through the soles of the feet. Reach high through your fingers. And exhale, lower with control. Last one. Deep breath. Press and reach. This time optional. Hold it low in your squat. Notice, can you use your booty muscles to open the knees even wider while keeping your chest nice and proud? You can add some fancy footwork, lifting one heel and lowering it. Other side. Maybe one more time each way. Lift and lower, and the slower you go, the harder it is. We're going to burst open. Star pose. Take up space. Awesome. Cartwheel the arms to the top of the mat. Take a moment to pause, maybe in your plank. Feel free to tap the knees and then come all the way to the belly. As you arrive on the belly, take a second to set up in Sphinx pose. So elbows under your shoulders, activating the legs by pressing the tops of the feet down, finding a slight tuck in the tailbone to create more space in the low back, and actively pulling yourself to the top of the mat using the arms on the earth. Slow and steady breaths. In and out the nose if you can. And you have an optional hold and breathe here a little longer, or you can play with the cactus arms down on the ground. So you're going to lower the chest, but float the arms away from the earth. So that same shape we've been playing with. You might float the legs as well. And then one more option is to inhale, reach the arms overhead, palms up to the sky. And on the exhale, elbows wide, palms facing the earth. Keep it going. Inhale, reach it long, palms up. And on the exhale, palms down, elbows wide. Last one, you got it. Inhale, reach. Exhale, expand, lift. And then release. Maybe a moment on the belly. Take a breath. With your exhale, meet back in downward facing dog. Couple breaths in your down dog. Noticing what you notice. Inhale, lift the left leg up and back. Here's where you can stack your hips with the top leg straight or a bent knee. Inhale, look forward, step the foot between your hands. Spin the back heel down and rise to warrior two. Take a second, ground your foundation, and then add your lunges by bending and straightening just the front leg. Keep going, moving with the breath. Inhale to extend. Exhale, bend. Last one. Nice. Keep the warrior two legs. Now wrap the opposite arm on top. If you don't remember, that's okay. Squeeze the arms together. We're going to lift the elbows up as you look up. And notice around the upper back, not hinging at the hips, just spreading the shoulders. Two more. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, curl. Nice and stable here. Does challenge the balance. Last one, deep breath. As you inhale, take the arms wide. Keep that warrior two legs if you can. And reverse your arms. Front arm reaches up and back away from the bent knee. Little to no weight in that back hand. And then exhale to extended side angle. Forearm can rest on that bottom thigh. Top arm can sweep up by the ear. You might hold and breathe here. Finding that nice long line on the top side of the body. And or you can add your circles to the top arm. Moving slow here. Keep grounding through the feet. See if you can open the chest as you reach up and back. Maybe one more breath wherever you're at. And then this time, rise up to center, turning the toes to the long edge of the mat and rotating the heels in for your standing straddle. We'll take it into a squat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lower. Again, press through the feet, reach to your fingers. Exhale, lower with a nice proud chest. Last one, deep breath. Option to hold your squat low. And here you can connect the hands with the inner thighs. You can take an inhale to lift through the center of the chest and then dip one shoulder as you peek over the other. So I'm pressing the hand and thigh together that I'm twisting away from. And on the inhale, you can lift the chest and then rotate the opposite direction. If you like this one and you want to keep going, one more time each side. If you need a break, totally okay to straighten the legs. Listen to what you need. Last one, deep breath. When you're ready, we're going to burst open star pose once again. Take up space. Should feel pretty good. Let's cartwheel the arms down. Make your way to a push-up position with or without the knees. Hold here. Feel nice and strong. And then lower as you're ready. Again, use the knees for support if you need to. Find Sphinx pose or another back bend if you prefer. Activate the legs, toenails pressing down, knees might lift away from the ground. You can think about slightly pressing your pubic bone down or lifting the front of the hip points away from the ground. And notice what you can do to encourage space in the upper chest, length along both sides of your neck. Again, you can be here for a few more breaths, or you can play with that cactus arm variation. So lowering down to the ground, floating the arms away from the earth. Shoulder blades are squeezing in and sliding down the back. You want to float the feet here. You're squeezing the legs in toward one another. To fire it up even more, inhale, reach the arms long, palms up to the sky. And on the exhale, palms down to the ground, elbows wide. Two more. Keep going. Inhale, reach. And on the exhale, squeeze. You can lift a little higher. Last one. Inhale, arms long. Exhale, float away from the ground. And then release. This time, hands can be a pillow, elbows wide. Maybe rest the forehead on the back of the hands. And take a moment to wiggle the hips. If you'd like, you can bend at the knees and swish the legs side to side. You can also just take those nice deep breaths into your belly. And feel the body melt as you exhale. Next exhale, gently press yourself back through all fours. We're going to sweep the legs out in front of us and play a little core work here. Summer, we're firing things up a little bit. So once you find yourself on your bum, you can bend the knees and have the feet on the earth. You can hold on to the backs of your hamstrings here. We'll play with boat pose. So notice I'm not rounding in the back, but trying to keep that nice flat back. Shoulders down and away from your ears. Maybe you lighten the load on the toes. And then start by floating one leg, keeping that back nice and long. And then tapping and taking the other leg up. Nice. You can keep going with that. Another option is to float both legs. Knees can stay bent. You can notice how it feels to release your grip from the back of the legs. And if you want to take it further, maybe the legs extend. You can squeeze the legs together. Let's all shake for just 3, for 2, 1.5. You got it. 1, release. Give yourself a little love here. Head between the knees. Nice deep breath. And then the option to come into a tabletop position. So you're going to keep your feet about hip wide. Hands are going to come behind the hips. And you can choose what direction your fingers are pointing. Find what feels good to you. Ground down through the hands. Ground down through the feet. And then you're going to create a reverse tabletop here. So lift the hips. Squeeze the glutes. You're trying to create a nice flat table. Maybe look up here. We're trying not to dump the head, but keep the head in line with your spine. Do your best to lift the hips just a little higher. 1 or 2 more breaths. And then gently release. Hips to the ground. Option to give yourself a little hug here, wrapping the arms around the legs. Or just giving the wrists a break. So we're going to do one more round. You can repeat that, or you can try a plank version with the legs straight. So if you're doing the plank version, go ahead and extend the legs. Same options with the hands. Fingers can point towards you, up to the sides. Some people prefer the opposite direction. Find what works. Ground down through the feet, whichever you choose. And when you're ready, press and lift the hips. If you've got legs straight, maybe point your toes. Squeeze your glutes. Lift from the center of the chest. This is challenging. Keep breathing. Just one more deep breath. And as you exhale, lower once again with control. Knees can be bent or straight for a moment. Maybe give yourself a little love once again. And try to slow your exhales down. And down, regulate the body. So from here, we're going to extend one leg out in front and bring the opposite foot anywhere to the inside of that straight leg. You can have fingertips on either side of your hips. And the toes of the straight leg are going to flex toward the face, but keep that heel on the earth. Take a breath in. Find long chest, long spine. You might just hold here, focusing on that length through the top of the head. If you want to reach the arms up, that's an option. And on the exhale, turn the chest toward the straight leg and then fold with a flat back, letting the hands land where they may. You might take a half lift here, reaching the heart toward the toes of that flat back. And then start to round and draw the nose toward your knee. And breathing deeply here. Feeling that expansion with the back of the lungs. Softening the front of the body. And if you want to add a twist here, you can take your hand on the same side as the bent knee, grab the outside edge of the straight leg. You might hold onto the thigh, the outer shin, perhaps closer to the ankle or the pinky toe, wherever you're at. See if you can get the side of the chest on the same side as the bent knee toward the pinky toe of the straight leg. Yeah, we have that nice flat back. We have a strap here. Feel free to use it. Couple breaths. Notice where you can soften with each exhale. If you want to hold this stretch a little longer, that's option 1. Option 2 is to plant the hand on the same side as the bent knee, slightly behind your hips. You're going to roll onto the shin of the bent leg and sweep that top arm up and overhead. So similar to that pose that we first started in, reach by that leg. As you exhale, lower back down to the ground with control. And we'll switch sides, extending the opposite leg out long. Fingertips might start on either side of your hips. Feel as though there's that string attached to the top of the head. Someone's guiding you toward the sky. Toes of the straight leg are flexing towards you, so the muscles of that leg are working. And then optional hold and breathe, or reach up as you inhale. Turn toward the straight leg and fold on your exhale. Perhaps you have that half lift, leading with the heart toward your toes, and then folding nose toward your new breaths here. You want to add that twist. Take the hand on the same side as the bent leg, go across the body to grab the outside edge of the straight leg wherever feels accessible. And then notice if you can lift your chest and turn the chest toward the pinky toe side of your straight leg. A few more slow inhales and even longer exhales. And perhaps hold and breathe here, or add that arm balance by planting the hand on the same side as the bent leg, slightly behind you, rolling onto the shin of the bent knee, and then finding long line from the pinky toe through the top pinky finger, activating the entire back body here. One more full breath. And then slowly coming back down to the ground. And here you can bring soles of your feet together. And you might have feet farther from the body. You can have them closer to you. Take a moment to just shift your weight. Some of you might like to butterfly the legs or even add a little rotation in the torso. Feel free to take a moment to just play. And then you might take an inhale here and keep the spine tall, and or start to fold as you breathe out, maybe using your elbows to take the knees even wider. That can relax, nose toward the toes. Couple more full breaths. Slowly rise on the inhale. Encourage the knees to come back together. And then perhaps a little bit of core here, lowering one vertebrae at a time until you come all the way down to the ground. And once you land, feel free to bring the knees slowly toward your chest. You might hold on to the kneecaps and then take your knees in individual circles so knees can come together and then farther apart. Taking your thigh bones around the hip sockets here. And after a few times one way, flip it the other direction. Nice. We're going to plant both feet on the earth to begin. Bring the right knee in toward the right shoulder. You can pull out with one or both hands. If you want more sensation, slide the left heel away from the body. You might add some ankle circles here. Keep squeezing the front of the right hip. Maybe pressing down through the left heel to open the front of your left hip. Deep breath in. You can hold and breathe here. You can also take it into half happy baby. So right heel is going to come up toward the sky. You might hold on to the back of the right hamstring. If you feel the need to rebend the other leg to make this accessible, that's great. You also hold on to the inside of the shin, the ankle, perhaps the inside of the heel, and you're pulling that leg down to earth while trying to press your foot up toward the sky. If you do want more, feel free to keep that other leg nice and long. Your half happy baby. Couple breaths. And you're ready to release. You can rebend the left leg if it's not already. Release the right to meet it. Let's take both feet wide, almost to the outer edges of the mat. And then switch the knees over to one side. And slowly through center and over to the other side. Do that at your own pace, a couple rounds. Once you come back to center, go ahead and bring the feet hip wide, draw the left knee in toward the left shoulder. Hold on with one or both hands. See how this side feels. Maybe start to slide the right heel out long and press down through that heel as you squeeze the left hip. Option for your ankle circles. And again, you might choose just to hold and breathe here, but if you want to take half happy baby, send the left heel up toward the sky. You're trying to stack your heel over your knee. This might mean gripping the back of the hamstring, perhaps rebending the other leg, and then grabbing, if it's accessible, the inside of the shin. Your inner ankle is also an option. You got resistance between the hand and leg here. So knee is being pulled down to earth. Foot is trying to press up toward the sky. And again, if it feels like you want more, you can continue to press the extended heel down into the ground. Take those nice full breaths. For anyone that wants to take full happy baby, feel free to rebend the other leg and then do what works here. Drop either the hamstrings from the outside of the legs, hold on to the inside of the shins and use your elbows to press the knees wide. Perhaps grab the feet or even use a strap here. And with the tailbone planted, add your rocking motion. Couple of breaths. And then last bit of energy is giving yourself a hug, maybe tucking into a tight little ball, squeezing the arms around the legs, forehead closer to the knees, shoulder blades off the earth, really squeeze. And then let it go into your final relaxation pose. Legs might extend. Feet can fall open. Hands can soften by your hips. Perhaps the palms rotate to the sky. Take one more full breath through the nose. Maybe sigh out the mouth. Feel free to let your eyes close if that feels good to you. Perhaps use this opportunity to touch back in any sensations within. And just observe how you're feeling and changing. Anywhere you can encourage a deeper relaxation. As always, if you have the means to be here longer, I encourage you to do so. It's that time we need to move on. Take a full belly breath. Start to wiggle the body, rotating the wrists and ankles. Perhaps a full body stretch. And even deeper breath. You might choose to bend your knees, roll to your side. The second to be in a fetal position, pausing there. Eyes might remain closed. And you can slowly make your way back upright, encouraging a long and tall spine once again. And take a moment to exhale all the air from your lungs and a nice fresh breath in through your nose. Hands might shift to the heart, and then let your breath go. Thanks again so much for sharing your practice, everyone. Namaste.